Have you seen these girls? Pay attention, guys, they're still missing. Welcome to Talking News. Please subscribe, hit the like button right now so you don't forget. Also, hit that notification bell if you would like notifications whenever I have a new upload. So today, guys, we are doing something a little bit different again. Today, have you guys heard of Kristin Smart? Now, this girl has been missing 20 years. So just before Memorial Weekend in 1996, Kristin Smart, who was a California Polytechnic State University student in St. Louis and a freshman, she went missing after attending an off-campus party. It's been 20 years since she's been missing, and the family of Miss Smart, they're still hyped up to try to find her, and they are still looking for answers. However, guys, just recently, her mother, Denise Smart, says that she was contacted by the FBI. And this is about her daughter's case. Get this, guys, they told her to stay tuned for more news. And whatever this news would be unexpected. Denise Smart said, they said, be ready. This is going to be something you really don't expect. We want to give you the support you need. And this is according to the Stockton Record. I was looking over a People article on this story, and I was just absolutely shocked that they were calling this parent and telling her, expect the unexpected. And they wouldn't give her a hint of what it is. Could you imagine being that parent standing there hearing this? Your daughter's been missing 20 years. And you think, okay, I understand we're going to get some news on this, but this is killing me not knowing. I mean, as if 20 years wasn't long enough, you have somebody call you and tell you, look, we got some news coming out, be ready. But we're not going to tell you. So in another statement issued Wednesday, the Smart family said that they were in contact with a retired FBI agent who has provided guidance to, they said that he has provided guidance to us over the years. They also stated that there was no timeline on the announcement of that case. And guys, I've never heard of this. I'm going to try to pronounce it. So the San Luis Obispo County Sheriff's Office is leading the investigation, and they are not putting, a timetable on the completion of whatever this is. The family said that we support the Sheriff's Department's efforts and commitment. The family is definitely ready to hear this new information. So like I said, imagine getting that call, and this would get any parent excited. I mean, their kid has been missing 20 years. But People said that they interviewed the sheriff's office spokesman, Tony Sepulveda, and he said, quote, "We don't anticipate any announcement in the near future," end quote. My God, what the heck is going on with this? That must have been devastating to hear that after hearing, there's something coming out soon, and then Tony says, no, we don't anticipate any announcements in the near future. Okay, so let's go over what might have happened to her. So, classes had just finished for a long holiday weekend. And according to several articles, Smart actually called her parents on Friday, and this would be on May 24th of 1996. She left a message. She told them, that she and a few friends were heading to a party, and that would be about 8 p.m. later that night. While she told her parents to call her before she left, what we're hearing is she never spoke to them. Now, there are, like always with stories like this, contradicting accounts of what happened. According to reports, at the time of Smart's disappearance, a neighbor in her dorm called the university police. And that was the next morning, and reported that she hadn't returned. But other students said that they thought she had gone camping, so officials didn't declare her missing for like 3 days. And as you know, that is like the most critical time for investigators to find any clues of where she could have been. According to the student, she says he left Smart near her dorm and he was questioned by authorities. He also had his home searched, but they say that he was not arrested or charged in this case. I can tell you that this case ended up getting a law passed when this California law was called the Kristin Smart Campus Safety Act of 1998, which they now require campus police to spell out exactly when they will call in outside authorities to investigate the violent crime. But a lot of people were kind of concerned of how this case actually went during its time when it first began, actually. So a few witnesses said that they seen that Miss Smart was passed out on a neighbor's lawn. But police have said that there are 2 students, including one of Smart's girlfriends, who offered to help her get back to her dorm since she was unsteady on her feet or pretty much drunk. According to them, they headed back to Murr Hall, where Smart lived during the school year. So a freshman, Paul Flores, volunteered to walk her home, according to police. So on this account, guys, no one had ever saw Smart again after that. So the next afternoon, when Smart failed to show up for lunch, her friend alerted campus police, which didn't begin fully investigating her disappearance until Tuesday, when classes resumed, according to authorities. So as you can see, there's several different accounts of what happened when she disappeared. So on this account, after Smart vanished, the campus police questioned Flores, like I mentioned earlier, and when he was asked about the black eye he sported, he had a black eye too, so remember his house was searched, but he wasn't arrested. But in this account, he had a black eye, and he told the campus police that he got hurt in a pickup basketball game, but authorities grew suspicious when one of his friends later told authorities Flores already had a bruise when he showed up to play. He then confessed that that was a lie and told them that he actually acquired that black eye while working on a truck. So according to the People article on this case, they said that later that year, after Flores had returned home for the summer, investigators from the sheriff's office later searched his dorm room with 4 cadaver dogs, which keyed in on Flores' mattress, and that's according to police, guys. And again, he was not charged. This is what this article is saying, and that is in 1996. A grand jury did not indict him. He has remained pretty silent on this case. So he's invoking his Fifth Amendment right to remain silent, and in 2005 he was disposed in a wrongful death civil suit, what was brought against him by her parents, of course, which was later dropped for some reason. I'm not certain why. I'm just picking this case up, guys. And the reason why he's still just a person of interest, according to People in 1998, they actually tried to contact him but couldn't reach him for contact. But they did get to speak with his attorney, who said that they just didn't have the evidence against Flores. And as you know, guys, you have your suspicions because he was one of the last people to see her. But when you don't have the evidence, it's just impossible to do anything. And it's like, you're standing behind a glass door watching somebody drown, and it's locked. There's no way to unlock it, and there's just nothing you can do. So the case is basically just sinking deeper and deeper as time moves on. But the FBI call kind of gave them hopes that perhaps maybe, we can start moving at a faster pace and solving this case, only to be shot down by the sheriff's office, which is just really confusing to me. So Kristin's mother, Denise Smart, told Roxton Rockton record, that the FBI is saying that the news was imminent. Quote, might want to get away for a while, end quote. What does that mean? I mean, come on, who does this? Can you imagine how nervous and upset she must be? And again, people says that she wasn't told when she and her family will get any more news. Quote, I wish I knew when, Smart told the outlet, because it's very anxiety producing, end quote. Of course it is. She continues on to say, it's like, can you give me the flight plan, she said. When is this happening, end quote. I really feel that they need to change the laws on cases like this, where they need to tell the family more what's going on. So many times these families don't even find out anything until it comes out on the media in some way, and this is horrifying because sometimes that's not reliable. And let me tell you, it's easy to make a mistake when you're trying to report a story that's actively going. It's very easy to pick up some information that's not correct, because they are all humans. They make mistakes. And like I mentioned, the sheriff's office come back with a statement after she says she got this information from this FBI agent she's dealt with, saying that there's no information that they see coming out anytime soon. So we know that the university police department kind of handled it like Smart had gone on an unannounced vacation, and this was, according to them, common among students over the holidays. And as a result, were slow in reporting that she was a missing person to the local enforcement. So, in like a lot of cases, there's a lot of rumors that go around, and some of those rumors in the media was that this girl, Lacey Peterson, her husband, Scott Peterson, had something to do with Smart's disappearance due to their something to do with attendance at the Cal Poly campus. And so there was a very brief inquiry into whether Peterson was tied to the disappearance, with Peterson denying any involvement, and he was eventually ruled out as a suspect by police. Now, I do want to talk about the part where there's some really compelling evidence that was discovered that points to Paul Flores knowing what happened to her. Although her body has never been discovered, Smart's bloody earring was found by a tenant at a former residence of Paul Flores' mother. Now, guys, get this. The earring has since mysteriously disappeared from the police custody, and this is between 1996 and 2007. So many searches were conducted, some using police dogs trained to detect the scent of human remains, including searches of property owned by Flores and family. But they said they never ever found any useful leads. But on September 6th of 2016, officials from San Luis, I have trouble with pronouncing this, Obispo County Sheriff's Office announced that they were investigating a new lead in the case. They brought in cadaver dogs and with the FBI, and investigators were preparing to spend approximately 4 days excavating an area on the Cal Poly campus. They spent 3 days excavating, digging, searching, and where they found a few items pretty much at all 3 dig sites that they were looking at. So this dig site was actually located on a hillside near Smart's dorm. Investigators wouldn't share whether or not those items had anything to do with Smart, but said that the items are being analyzed to see whether or not they are connected to the case, which could take days, weeks, or months. So here we are in 2020, and they still don't have answers. Something's wrong. So this is one of the reasons I'm covering this case. I want you guys to share this case. It's a very interesting case, and maybe we can bring some more light to this. Now, Miss Smart was declared dead back in 2002, And I believe that this family deserves answers. And they're just not getting the answers. And it just seems that this area, something is very sketchy when it comes to investigation, especially with the fact that this earring disappeared and, you know, they found these items, but they didn't hear anything on it many years later. I can only imagine what the family's going through. Guys, I apologize for my mic is being sketchy too. I really do need a new mic. I have bought tons of new mics. Don't get me wrong. I need another new mic. And you know, I have covered so many of these stories, and mentally it's very hard. I don't know how some of you are able to keep up with all these like you do, because mentally it is very difficult to think about these things every single day. So imagine I can't imagine what the parents are going through. But for some reason, Kristin Smart reminds me of Elizabeth Smart's story where she was kidnapped, and for a long time, you know, people didn't know what happened with her. She was later found. She had been abducted by this very strange cult, and she's alive and well, doing okay. She does narration for documentaries. And it's stories like that that give us hope that perhaps, maybe, if we just keep looking and not give up, maybe we will find, you know, these missing people. There might be a miracle or something like that. And that's what a lot of these parents are hoping for. I mean, we just had the Allison Watterson case that's still going. Now, they were confined to an area. We know where they were. We heard witnesses that said that they seen her and her boyfriend, but yet those parents are still out there searching. No answers. The boyfriend's behind bars. It just seems too simple to not get. But here, this one's a 20-year-old case, so that's even harder. They've had vigils, they've had gatherings, they've had everything trying to keep the hope alive with this case. And I guess we can do our part and make a video, and hopefully a few of you guys that belong to those crime groups and things like that will share this video. Or if you run a channel, maybe you can do a story on this as well. That would be nice. Okay, so I want to do a little bit of a background. So Kristin Denise Smart, she was born February 20th of 1977. She was legally presumed dead May of 25th of 2002. They were saying that she was abducted and killed at the end of her freshman year at college, and that was on May 25th of 1996. They believe it happened on campus of California Polytechnic State University. So 3 fellow students escorted Smart back to her hall of residence after an off-campus party. Her death is an actively investigated missing persons case, which is kind of confusing. And on September 6th of 2016, the San Luis Obispo Sheriff's Department reported it had received information about the possible location of Smart's remains, resulting in a hillside excavation of the Cal Poly campus. So, after 5 days of digging, bones were recovered from that site. Okay, guys, so they're saying now that I'm finding that bones were found at that excavation site. However, it was initially unclear. Still, to this day, guys, if those bones were human or animal. And forensic analysis may take months, they said, but it's been years. Sorry about my puppy in the background, guys. She's really barking today, so it's almost impossible to record. But, so now we've gone over the articles and everything that, media is saying and things like that. So now let's go over more personal information that I was able to collect. So in the spring of 1995, Kristin graduates from high school in Stockton. To Her mother, she sets her sights high for these new opportunities and the chance, to meet new people. She's just kind of an outgoing leader type person. Her mother, Denise, said that she was a venture seeker, that if there was a chance to go on something like a venture or something new, she was first to jump on that. Her sister, Lindsay Smart, agreed and said that, she just was not a follower whatsoever. She was definitely a leader type person. So in San Luis Obispo, in California, she enrolls in the California Polytechnic University, where she enrolls full force. According to her mother, Denise, she says that her daughter had always been interested in architecture, but in another breath, she might tell you that she wanted to be Joan London and, interview interesting people from all over the world. It's clear if you watch the interviews that her mother, Denise, and her sister, Lindsay, have made, you will see that they are very proud of Miss Smart, and they believe that she could do anything she put her mind to. She was just that type of girl. According to her mother, she was the type of girl that if somebody was to tell her something was impossible, she wouldn't believe it. So Kristin settles into college. Everything seems to be going great. In fact, it is just before Memorial Weekend, and she is preparing to go out one night. Her mom reminds us that when her daughter was going to college, it wasn't a time of cell phones, so they were using regular phones. And Kristin was the type of girl that called home every weekend, especially Sundays. And she's always wanting to speak to everyone in the family, so she's very close with the family. So like I mentioned, it's May 24th. It's the Friday. It's right before Memorial Weekend. Kristin Smart calls home and she leaves this message with her mom. That message was, good news, I'll call you Sunday. Then she goes out. After that, her mom says she never heard from Kristin Smart again. According to one documentary, that night, that night, when she left her that message, good news, I'll call you Sunday, the parents were kind of excited and awaiting her phone call, her usual Sunday call. But that call never come. Her mother thought to herself, perhaps maybe, she'll call Monday. She said when noon come on Memorial Day, she still didn't have a call from her daughter. So later on Memorial Day, Kristin's roommate comes home from a trip that she had, and she notices something really strange. She finds all of Kristin's belongings in the room, but she's not there. So she starts talking to, people around the campus, ask them, have you seen Kristin? And the people that she had talked to said that they hadn't seen her since Friday. So this has been 3 days. Her roommate ends up calling the Caltech police, so the college campus police, and they end up calling Denise and giving her news that any mother would be horrified to hear. According to Denise, when they called her house, she picked up the phone expecting it to be Kristin, but it was not. And the police had asked her if Kristin had come home for the weekend. It's at that moment that you can only imagine that Denise probably went into a panic. Especially, they were having trouble, according to the documentary that I checked out and a few other sources, with the campus police contacting police and filing a missing persons report or doing anything really. And this is because what I told you earlier, so this seems to match that they believe that, it was a holiday, she just disappeared for the holiday. This is something common within the college community. But those lack of investigating during those crucial hours would end up being or causing a brick wall to pop up for investigators later on. 4 days, no word from Kristin Smart. Her father jumps in a car, drives 250 miles from their home to the college. And thank God he did, because he was able to talk the police into putting up missing person pamphlets and get the police to actually start talking to eyewitnesses who last saw his daughter on campus, only to find out, that she was last seen at this party. There were several girls they found out that said that she went to a fraternity party. A few of them weren't able to go, and so I'm not certain if she went alone or how she got there, but according to her mother, she said she would have felt comfortable being there alone. So eyewitness accounts say that they do see her at this party, and that she does, even though she's underage, which a lot of college kids are, says her sister, but she was served alcohol. Now, according to her family, she was not a heavy drinker, but witnesses at this party say that Kristin was very intoxicated, so intoxicated that 3 people had to help her back to her dorm. Now, according to this documentary, they say that she was found sitting on the lawn, not laying in the lawn, so perhaps that's where that comes from, and it's from there that they decide to help her go back to her room. According to a group, they say that the 3 people that took her back to her dorm didn't take her inside, but they left her a few yards away from her dorm, and they all left. And when police questioned these guys, they all had the same exact story. The last time Kristin Smart was seen was when she was left just a few yards from that dorm, and she was trying to walk towards that door last they seen. Sadly, guys, Kristin Smart never made it back to her room. So according to investigators, they thought perhaps she was intoxicated and kind of wandered off somewhere. And why police suspect that? Because certainly they don't have any eyewitnesses that say that she did such a thing. I know the witnesses that dropped her off say that she was walking towards the door. According to the Smarts and their family, her brother, her sister, and her mother, they say several days go by and they're just trying their best to figure out and plot, map, do whatever they can to figure out where she might be. But after a little time passes by, the story starts to really hit the media, and they start having tips pour in out of nowhere. According to her mother, they were getting reports that she was seen in another city or a drugstore, or just these really outrageous places that just didn't make sense. And a heartbroken father was determined that he would check out those tips, and he ended up having to drive all over California trying to check out the tips that they were receiving. Kristin Smart is a tall, beautiful, blonde, outgoing girl, so it's somebody, it's easy to spot. But the parents were running into problems that a lot of it was mistaken identity. In other words, dead ends. Now, the parents ended up pushing the college police to contact the DA, and they did so, and the DA started investigating, and they found out that one of those 3 students that were taking her back to her dorm, his name was Paul Flores, which we heard about in the articles, had actually lingered back and stayed with her for a bit longer than the other 2. Paul Flores was a science major, and he said that he felt like he needed to get her home safely. That's what he told police anyways. Now, as Paul Flores is investigated, they find out that he has a black eye and a few scratches, which they say is usually not too huge of a deal with a college student, except when they talk to a few fellow students that know him, they said that he had actually acquired these the day after she went missing. So this would actually raise red flags. This would definitely be investigators want to look into more. So Flores was definitely a person of interest at the beginning of this case, and they actually brought him in, and he just didn't seem to tell the truth. Police ask him why he doesn't tell the truth about the black eye. He says,
"Because I didn't think it would matter."
Investigators confront him again about those injuries.
Everything that you've told us so far isn't really the truth. How do we know now that you lied for us? Well, that wasn't important though. Sure it is. That's important.
Paul tells the investigators that he actually hit his eye on his steering wheel when he was installing a new radio. So guys, they're kind of stuck. They don't have enough evidence to arrest him, and they don't want to mess up this case by arresting him for something and not being able to follow through with the rest of the evidence that they need. So here we are in 2020, and those parents had just gotten information that, it's going to be unexpected information. And so we're all curious as to what that might be. Paul Flores is now still a free man out there, but still he is a person of interest. As you can imagine, he was the last person to see her. Now quickly guys, I got it in. I hit my max and over it actually. I'm going to try to load this a little bit lower quality. But anyways, there's a few people that have been very interested in this case, and they covered it. They did interviews. They talked about these earrings more. But when I further investigated, it looked like they backed off, and it looks like it might be at the request of Smart's parents. So I'm going to show you this website. You can go read it yourself because it's got a lot on there. I just don't know how much of it is factual. It's called the California Register, and they said things like, we believe the remains of Kristin Smart is encased in concrete at the rear left-hand corner of 529E Branch Street. So the home is owned by the parents of Paul Flores, who is the last person seen with Kristin. And also, this is where they claim they find those earrings that were mishandled by detectives. So clearly they have a right to kind of question the sheriff's department because of what we're hearing so far. The whole entire town let this family down, and that's from my opinion. Denise Smart is you can tell where her daughter got her, ability to hang in there, not give up, and not find things impossible. But at one point, you got to realize that there's just something not right with this investigation. Hopefully, this family can find answers, because that's the number one reason that we're covering this story today, is to let everybody know about her beautiful daughter and her story. So guys, I want to thank you so much for hanging around, watching. Those of you that recently helped me out with the Patreon, I appreciate that. And everything you guys do. Love you guys, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.